matchup. We got Costa and Mitch. One more time. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Danny. Yeah, okay. 17% behind the Valiant. I think Jay makes a great point. I think that we're at the point now in the Overwatch League where sometimes a good story is more important than hitting with the hard numbers. You know what I mean? I think that's why Johnny's approval rating sort of fell through the floor. So that happens, and we'll get you there, don't worry. I mean, your fashion sense has been kind of clean, so, we've got something to work with here, mate. What? What's wrong? You can talk, mate. It's okay. No?
He's got nothing.
Bueller? Okay. So we talk about the Defiant here. Obviously, these roster changes, right? So let's be clear on it. Opener and Spectra join the team. Spectra looking incredible so far for the Defiant. Speedly, Sam, and OG depart from this roster. Sam's doing just fine, though. Homie be out there with the Saints, they treat him right over there,
He's streaming, he's having a good time. OG went to New York Excelsior, he's doing pretty well for himself as well. But the additions of Opener and Spectra from the eye test that we saw from their first match looks pretty good. They're slotting in quite easily. It's sort of giving them a little bit more flexibility than they had in the past. They only just squeaked out over the Vancouver Titans, though. That's not a great win.
The Valiant, though, have White Chio.
Oh, God. How do you beat that? That's insurmountable at some point, and that's worth talking about. The desk highlighted Seeker on that Sojourn just going absolutely insane, but in that final map, Liar on the Lucio was just absolutely ridiculous. He was running over the team. He's really the difference maker, and if they can keep that confidence and keep it moving, they're a dangerous team to face.
I mean, we watched like Funny Astro and Liar both sort of trying to have the same level of impact on that Lijiang Tower map, right? Obviously great for those environmental kills, and it was so very close. Just, towards the end of the map, we started to see the Valiant really come alive. But there's something to be said for like how hard you're fighting for that first win.
Yeah.
Now you've gotten over that hump. Where do you sort of go from there? Our teams are really respecting you as well.
Yeah, like no one's going to walk into this match and be like, oh, they're a pushover. Kind of like the Vegas situation we just had of like all of a sudden everyone's starting to sit up in their chair of like anything is possible with this team. And I think that will really define what makes this Valiant team great. We've talked about it time and time again. Jake loves to hit on it. This is a Valiant team that's hungry to be great in this league. Does that end once they win their first match? I don't believe so. The way that they talk, the way that they have their confidence, they want more. They want to take down more teams, especially a team like the Toronto Defiant. These are guys that most of the Valiant have played against for a lot of their careers. They're all coming from North American contenders.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of chip on their shoulder. They've played with and against each other for a long time. This could be a battle, Mitch.
I mean, this Valiant team looks great in the rush comps. Yep. That's the most exciting, I think, sort of style we see from this roster. Krawi was a player at the start of the season. We said, are we going to see like Winston comps? Are we going to see these guys try and dive? No, they really stuck to their guns there, and they found a lot of success. 15.7 final blows per 10.
Yeah.
That is absurd. We don't see that every day. And there's the question of whether we can see that level of output from Seeker again, and what happens if we don't?
Well, it's funny because I've casted so many Valiant games this year, and every single time we're like, he can't keep getting away with it, but he does. When he goes over to that Sojourn, his impact is just at another level that nobody else is able to find. And it is because the Valiant are putting those resources and trust in him to be able to get those results. But if you're the Toronto Defiant, you've watched the tape. You know exactly what the Valiant are going to come out with. They don't want to play the dive. They want to get Seeker on that hit scan. There must be a solution to counter it. They have a game plan.
Los Angeles Valiant looking even more the exciting prospect now. But this Toronto Defiant team, they are locked in. They are ready to do some work, and they are asking for a bit of respect finally. Stick around, everybody. We're going to be jumping headfirst into this game right after these messages. See you, Seeker. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to jump back, or rather begin this series. There was an issue on the Toronto Defiant side wherein the breadth of Kaluja's shoulders made it very hard for Spectra and Open to have enough room for their low-sense gaming, so they basically had to add another table in between. But we're good to go now.
Look at how wide Kaluja's. You know, it's hard to find tables big enough for him.
Or doors.
Or doors, that's it.
Got to go through them sideways.
You would know.
I mean, not anymore. Those are the days, though. Here we go, ladies and gents. It's going to be Busan to start this one off. Again, if this is going to be anything like that previous series, strap yourselves in for a good time. Midtown, Route 66 for those maps 2 and 3. Again, we think about that, I guess, classic style that we see from the Valiant so far, really favouring these rush setups. It doesn't mean that, I mean, we've seen Crowy definitely demonstrate some flexibility. It's just where this team looks good. Seeker's one to watch, Liar's one to watch, and of course, this new addition, Spectra on the Defiant. That's a player who's going to get a lot of attention.
Yeah, and he's been a player that's been hyped, and people were surprised he wasn't in the league prior to the season beginning, but now he's here, and he's making a name for himself. Opener obviously had his rookie season last year. We get a woo for a Hydron in chat. Mixed messages from the Valiant.
Yeah. Appreciate Hydron, though. Always there with a good vibe. Woo!
Woo!
Sorry. Always there for a big vibe check. Okay, do we get the echo here? Both sides? Yes.
We've seen bits and pieces of Seeker Echo. So it's quite solid. He's a very flexible player in general. Spectra on the Echo as well. Hydron onto the Tracer. We haven't seen much Hydron Tracer when they had, you know, Sam on the roster. He was usually the person only coming in to play the hit scan, but he also has a phenomenal Tracer.
Yeah, it's really impressive actually just how deep Hydron's hero pool is. If we ever get a Widow meta again, check me out watching Hydron gameplay, that's for sure. He's found Seeker early though. Good start here for the Defiant. The Valiant looking a little maladroit coming out of the gates. And Liar won't be getting back to his own spawn.
Yeah, that was almost too easy there for the Defiant. Seeker got hit by a biotic grenade, and then the follow-up was there. So this is really a question a lot of people have for the Valiant is, we're in a dive meta. There are a lot of great dive maps as we've been talking about. Yes, they got their first win, but they were fortunate with the map pool and how it favored their style.
Yeah, up against a team like the Gladiators as well. Definitely helped to have that in your back pocket. Battlegrounds that favor you. Dive first for Kaluj here. Crow will go upstairs as well, try and keep him at bay. Deny access, of course, to the soft underbelly of this Valiant composition.
Nano's coming up for both sides. Usually going on the Winston. Sometimes people have been putting on the Echo. There it is.
Big lob of that Bionade coming in. Speculative at best, but Spectra finds a kill before being put to sleep. Burned a lot of calories there. Can't blame the guy. Seeker will punish though, focusing being very hard to avoid there. So the Defiant probably happy enough with a trade, but the Echo uncontested now might be a concern.
And Croy's coming back into this fight first because he fell earlier. So there's some window of opportunity. Hydron takes down CJ though. There goes the healing for the Valiant.
Oh, I mean, geez, all that time, the Valiant are pressuring the Defiant so effectively, but Hydron slips through the net and gets a kill. That is huge. The Valiant never had a chance to really start to move over towards the point, and this is getting out of hand already. Spectra with the Tracer dupe. Okay, not the most original, but I'll give it to you.
Double Tracer, a true classic from the early days of Overwatch.
Just need the double Zen, double Winston.
Double Zen, double Winston, double Tracer. My favorite meta of all time, Mitch.
Oh, I bet. I bet it was. You didn't even have the kick to get him off you back then.
Yeah, I know. It was hard. Oof. But that was fun.
Oh, you get your orbs never fell off them. That's
true. So you just threw it on a Tracer, and Tracer players would just ask for it consistently. It was very frustrating. But 85% and counting for Toronto Defiant. Valiant have gone in a small room. Seeker duplicates an Ana.
Yeah, I think he goes to dive Ultraviolet. Doesn't quite complete the kill, so opts to duplicate, maybe because he didn't have the flight cooldown to get him back out of there. Well, if there's going to be any time to start to take control, it's right about now. Cap underway for the Valiant here at 99% for Toronto. To get it done here with Seeker's Ana dupe.
Nos with a huge stick onto Ultraviolet. Really the way they got into that team fight. So now the Valiant, big task ahead of them. They got 99% to make up. Neither team playing the Sombra is an interesting look. It hasn't ever really been either of these teams' strengths, so opting to stick with the Echo.
Okay. Here comes Ultraviolet. It's a nano for Kaluj here. Spectra trying to burn Seeker down, but he was just too healthy. CJ though,
wow,
in deep trouble. Good sticky bomb connection on Spectra. Hello. Seeker's got nowhere to go. Make that 3, 4.
And that's going to be the round as well. 5 for Spectra. Just flexing a little bit, show him what he's got in the tank. making it look easy. He doesn't even break a sweat.
No, he's absolutely chilling. Well, we asked ourselves what it would look like. We know Seeker has the hero pool, but Spectra ends the round at 8-1. Seeker 1-3.
Yeah. Maybe just pick Sojourn. You know, that's Seeker's own advice right there. This is a much easier map to play a hit scan, and you're going to see Valiant making some big swaps. I wouldn't be surprised to see them come out this way. The Winston just isn't their forte, but on a map like Busan, on that round specifically, you almost have to match it.
Does running a Junker Queen give your Cassidy enough protection or enough deterrent from the dive for it to make sense?
Junker Queen is one of those heroes that is a consistent threat. Her biggest weakness is that she can, if she's focused down, she can fall quite easily. So it actually helps having someone like Croy be in the front line, because then Seeker is no longer the important threat they need to deal with straight away. They're going to play this like strange death ball composition with a Cassidy and a Brig and a Kiriko. I have no idea how this is going to go, Mitch.
Ambitious from the Valiant. Krawi swinging the air right now, but Seeker connects with Hydron. Always scary on that hit scan. And very, very quickly, the Defiant realizing what they're going up against. So they're going to be heading for the heals here. Hydron to the Ash, so wants to outrange Seeker if possible, and knows he can play it because they're not getting dove.
Yeah, there's not many targets that can really get onto Hydron. Nos, pretty much the only one, and that's a hard fight to take as a Trace because you can get one shot at any moment.
Oh.
Too much damage there from the Defiant. Valiant getting caught in a small room, and as quickly as they got it, they're going to lose it.
No, you have to answer this right. I mean, this Ash, virtually uncontested, seems like a really scary prospect to go up against, especially now when you have to come through these chokes.
Yeah. And how do you respond, though? Croy, he wants to be on that Junker Queen. He doesn't want to play the Winston. So this is what I'm talking about, Mitch. Defiant, they come in with a game plan. They know if there's ever a situation, Hydron, that you can play this long-range hit scan, do it. Because if there's anyone who's going to match Seeker, it's Hydron.
Seeker's still a threat in his own right. But again, you see how he struggles at Ash trying to play that angle. It just has too much damage fall off. Wants to close the gap a little bit, make it a mid-range Stoush.
Royce only has 30, 40% ult charge right now. He's just unable to close the distance, get anything done.
Nano for Kaluj. Maybe force them out into the open so Hydron gets easy shots, and so he does. Seeker the first casualty. Kaluj goes over. It's Krawi, and a Pulse Bomb will secure that elimination. Now to the Defiant, they have the better composition. The onus is absolutely on the Valiant to figure a way out of this outside of just trying to run their head into a wall.
Yeah, Valiant just, without a Lucio especially, it doesn't feel like they have the ability to just choose their battles. They're just having to live at the mercy of the Defiant. Defiant get to choose when they go in. And with Hydron sitting in the backline, they don't ever really have to go in. They have the advantage in a long-form fight.
Looks like Hydron actually got knifed there. Far too far away, though, for it to mean anything outside of a little bit of incidental poke from Krawi, who now is at 68% vault. Okay.
69.
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice. Getting there.
So as you can see, it's taken them so long to just maneuver around in the Defiant. They're just mirroring the same thing. Wherever the Valiant go, Hydron goes the opposite way. Pulse Bomb from Nos is going to go wide.
I mean, he's the only one that can contest Hydron there. Right now with Bob, it's just, I mean, it's just pointless.
And there's a Kitsune rush there from the Valiant, but they can't even progress forward because there's a Bob standing on the point.
Deadeye, Seeker able to take down the inanimate object. That's something, I suppose. Sixth player down for the Defiant, but there's a rally now in play for opener. Seeker really trying to find a decent target, but there's so much durability because of the rally on the Defiant. There's no easy kills. Still the Valiant bully their way forward with that, Kitsune rush, the rally combination. Krawi has finally built his first ultimate. That Rampage is up.
It could be huge as well. It's such a strong ultimate when there isn't a Kiriko on the other side. When's he going to pull this one? He's got to be careful. If he takes too long, his team's going to die before he finds value.
Pick a target, any target. Doesn't even get open. He's able to get away. Oh, that's devastating. He spent so long charging that up, and it goes for nothing. And then punished by Ultraviolet. The biotic grenade connects. Oh, what a sorry sight that is. And the Toronto Defiant look well equipped to end the round here and now. Looks like Busan. Well, it's not Valiant's day here, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was just a hard round from the Valiant. The Junker Queen on the second round just not paying off at all. Croy wasn't able to get any value on the Queen, doing no damage, unable to find value with the Rampage. That's the major tool that you're really playing for.
Krawi is 7. 0-7.
Hey, I've been there before.
Yeah. It's a classic.
Welcome to the club, Krawi.
That is some serious Valiant vibes there. Very, very difficult to try and get value from their Junker Queen. Yeah, the Winston was tough in this first round as well. I think Spectral really took the game over. you know, not a whole lot you can do about that from the Winston's perspective. Really impressive, that 5K to really, to punctuate the point here at the end of the round. Definitely sealed the deal in my estimation. And then, heading on to that second round, we understand like the concept of this Junker Queen comp. We actually saw it look really good in the previous series today, but the execution was far from what it needed to be.
I think if you're going to play this Junker Queen against the Winston, you almost need a Lucio. As much as you lose a dramatic amount of healing, you need that Lucio to close the distance so you can pick your targets more effectively.
All right, first map goes the way of the Toronto Defiant. Valiant coming off that first win of the season, realize, hang on, there's still a lot more mountain to climb. Midtown is where it's going to be in our next map, so stick around in our last match of the week. Well, apparently the floor is not lava, but playing a Winston comp for the Valiant, and they execute that game plan expertly. They got in the lab there, cooked up something for a Scotty, but I don't know if I'd be serving that to my friends and family.
Yeah, it wasn't great, and that has been one of the weaknesses of the Valiant this entire year. As much as they've shown some good performances, the diversity just isn't there in the way that they play the game. But fortunately for them, we're heading over to Midtown. This is a map where I think their style can thrive. We've seen a lot of teams play the Ramatra, even a lot of hit scan that C can sort of step into. So this could be a much closer affair than Busan.
That's what we're looking for here, a map that really plays to the strengths of this team a little bit more, especially if they can, get the... I mean, Ilios is a bit of a rough one here. Let's just focus on Midtown, I suppose, for the time.
Baby steps.
Because there are quite a few, sort of maps that do favour dive-centric compositions. We've seen teams go as far as to play Reinhardt on this map. Not that I necessarily recommend that, but it's an option. We see teams sort of on the attacking side, they like have baited like a high ground play. They drop into the choke, try and go over on the left side. Wasn't great when I saw it earlier this week.
I think Spitfire playbook can't really be used as a staple for other teams. Hasn't been as successful, but the idea is there. There is opportunity to do something different. There's a lot of different strategies, and Midtown as a whole is a new map. Came through in Overwatch 2, so it is largely unsolved with all the compositions and what you can effectively do. Are we actually going to see the Valiant come out on the Winston here?
I'd love to, at least to get a read on how they're trending with that composition. Yeah, I mean, it's quite the novelty, having an unsolved map, an opportunity to sort of throw whatever comp you like, and if you've been workshopping it hard enough, there's a good chance your opponents aren't super familiar with it, so it will be the Winston comp.
Yeah, wow, with a Tracer and a Sombra. So I was not expecting this to come out for the Valiant. CJ not playing the Brig, sticking on the Kiriko. I'm not sure if I love the Kiriko. The Brig offers so much. It provides a lot of protection to the Ana, but Kaluj gets hacked and just falls before anything's even really happened.
This is maybe why you want that Kiriko. CJ can push ahead, play around Nos here, sort of dive on in there and really wrap around, start to pressure the defenders out of these safer spots like that fire station. Great start getting collusion, but you just can't ask for more than that.
Kiriko definitely puts a wrinkle in what Defiant are trying to do, and you can see CJ, he's just throwing kunais at the backline. If he hits a random headshot, that could easily execute one of them.
Ultraviolet able to both heal himself and put that debuff on Krawi. Forces the Winston away. Spectre could be an issue, but hasn't been able to find any of those insta-kills he was getting so expertly in the first map of the series. The Winston bubble a problem for Echo.
Yeah, the big nade hits opener. He falls eventually to the zap of Croy. They have the nano boost and they have the positioning right now. Valiant in prime position.
I think this is great. This is looking very good for Los Angeles. Again, like, they really get the game plan, right? Working Kaluj down first, getting the Kiriko entrenched in this position. I mean, at that point, like, how are you fighting back onto the point as defenders? Attackers just have the rule of the whole place.
Yeah, Kaluj is really the player that I think was struggling to stay alive. He fell twice, getting hacked, a lot of pressure coming through, and the healing just wasn't there to keep him alive. And for that reason, the Valiant will cap through. CJ switching over to the Ana, maybe just a point A pocket pick.
Yeah, it may have been he was trying to help out a flanker, and now maybe he's a little bit more focused on keeping Krawi going. Nice work by Nos. Yes, gets in. Ultraviolet disintegrates. This is excellent. These first picks for the Valiant are getting them going on this map, with his Winston comp no less. So far, they haven't had to do anything overly complex here. The fundamentals have been really good. Looks like the communication's also working well.
Another big nade on the opener is going to get him caught once again. EMP also hit Kaluj, who is bleeding out, and without that extra healing, they're going to have to concede the positioning.
I think conversely, this is probably the stuff you don't want to see from Toronto.
Yeah.
If you favor them as being like a real contender in this league, right? Like a couple of issues, with players getting picked off early. Hey, pulse bomb from Nos, it happens. Can't do too much about that. Auto economy gets away from me, that's fine. Spectre hasn't had that impact he's been, you'd hope that he would make so far.
Yeah, the Defiant, those are the issues that they had in the spring stage. Nano goes on to Cluj, instantly slept. Will be hard to find some value with this one.
CJ and Lai know exactly what's coming here. Nano boost available for CJ if Lai gets too low, under too much pressure. Bionade there. Cluj's going to go for the primal. He's going to go deep here. And he's investing. Oh, right, sorry. Nos just appears. Not sure how that happened. Cluj is going to get away with this now. CJ does eventually have to Nano Lai, so because of that, Kaluj won't get another kill, but the freebie of Nos is, take those, I guess.
Yeah, that would have been a great nano if Nos hadn't already fallen, and because of all the pressure being put onto the backline of the Valiant, Croy falls as well, so maybe a nano he would want back. 3 minutes remaining here for the Valiant. Nos with another pulse bomb. Can he find it onto Ultraviolet? He's been actually pretty solid with those ones so far throughout this series. It's just been about transitioning that into objective and further success.
No duplicate used by Spectre yet, waiting for the most opportune time. And this probably won't be it either. Nos gets served up as, again, a little bit of a freebie there. Open able to catch him out with the whip shot. Bionade again on Hydron, well thrown by CJ. That might have been part of the reason behind this Ana switch. But not many other options presenting themselves here for the Valiant. Hydron didn't really need that pulse bomb to hit. The Valiant are going to be back at full strength now.
Valiant, enough confidence to believe that they can hold the positioning, and they do. Seeker coming up to an EMP. Croy's getting so low.
Yeah, that's the pressure you want to see from Spectre. Now really getting on the board there. Wants to be able to punish Crowley for going in aggressively, especially playing out of line of sight of CJ. Here's a rally for 4 players. Seeker has that EMP. Hydron able to avoid the initial hack. Spectre is too far away for Seeker to reach with there with those reaching fingers.
I don't love that rally as much as it keeps you alive and keeps you in the fight. Without your main tank, yeah, what are you staying here for? There's nothing you can do to follow it up, so all the overhealth has already fallen off. Now they won't have that extra defensive ultimate when the pressure does come.
Yeah, unless you're planning to EMP behind that rally and just try and like win a 4v5, it seems like that just kept them milling around for a little bit longer. Seeker though, you can see why he held on to it there. He's able to turn that into an instant kill on Hydron. We have an Ana duplicate here from Spectre though. This is a little bit scary. He actually got CJ with their Bionade. There's no way he's getting out of this.
Oh, they're doing a good job of staying alive. Nano goes on to Laya to help out even that little bit more.
How's he alive?
He is, but Croy is falling once again. They're putting so much pressure onto the backline of the Valiant that Croy is just not able to hold on his own because he's not getting any healing. It's Kaluj once again, primals them in a small room and comes out on top.
You see Lion and CJ playing really well together. They're actually holding Kaluj up for a long time.
Yeah.
In theory, you hope that buys time for the rest of your team, but not much is getting done by Crowley on the other end of that. Maybe lack of support. We see Seeker switch to the Ashe here. I suppose they do have that high ground, but I don't see the Defiant letting Seeker play up there for free.
I think this is one of those LA Valiant special moments where things aren't going well, the EMP didn't garner the value we wanted. Put Seeker on hit scan, hope he can come up with some magic.
Okay, it'll definitely pressure Spectre down, but Spectre's not really been the problem for the Valiant so far.
Just constant pressure. Every player from the Defiant is creating that pressure.
Another pulse there from Hydron. No connection. Couldn't afford to linger to really line that up. Scary prospect facing down Laya, especially rally so close. Health pack there for Hydron though, so he snaps that up. Nos realizes he's better off trying again later.
Doing a roundabout way to get into the backline. The Valiant has the positioning on the high ground and they're almost content just sitting it out, but the Defiant aren't. They've nanoed Spectre into the backline.
Keeping Seeker alive. Priority number 1 for the Valiant here. They need Seeker to be able to do work, but Crowley's out of the fight! He gets dominated! Hydron comes on in, but there's 2 other players involved in that elimination. Pulse bomb from Nos this time, it's no good. Hydron getting it done here. And that's not what you want to see if you're a Los Angeles Valiant fans. They're going to pull up well short here on Midtown.
It's one of the issues that you have as a Winston player against the Echo is if you start to get even a little bit low, you're just going to get burnt away by the beam of Echo. And Croy is just struggling to stay alive. When he has the Primal Rage, he's able to get that little bit of extra time, but he's not finding any value on the back of that as well. Defiant, once again, on Midtown, looking like the better dive team.
Okay, Hydron. Sure.
Just wait for push.
Presumably, I guess, what, New York native, Hydron?
Yeah,
I guess, yeah. That'll do it.
It's optimistic that they're going to get to push and get to New Queen Street.
I thought we stopped having this home ground advantage argument in Esports long ago. I guess it's fun thematically. Here's Hydron though, so quite a few of those pulse bombs not really finding their mark here, but look at him, he is knocking heads together in the middle of this fight. Give me your rating out of 10 for the Seeker Ashe on this attacking part of the map.
I think it never really came to fruition. If they were going to do it, they needed to commit at an earlier time.
Okay.
You want to get that bob up, you want to have more time for Seeker to make his magic. I was surprised to see them go with the dive, honestly, but it can be difficult on attack to play the Ramatra and try and close that distance.
Seeker's ribbing here, the Toronto Defiant. Obviously now we've just had recently announced we're going to be in Toronto for our Overwatch League Grand Finals, and yes, obviously as a Defiant fan, you hope your team could be there too. Stiff competition though, standing in your way. It's going to be what, September 28th? It's all going to kick off. See you there, hopefully.
Yeah. As much as Toronto Defiant at a 4-5 record right now, they have their chance to make it. Valiant 1-8. Seeker's going to have to come up with some more magic to make it to the playoffs.
Hydron on the Hanzo here. We have a Mercy in play as well.
This is, we actually talked about a composition exactly like this on Numbani, and it plays the exact same way. They have the high ground, they have the positioning. We're going to play a Hanzo and an Echo, and we're just going to play for picks. You have the Mercy, you can res any pick that comes out on your side, and you're just applying so much damage that the Valiant is going to feel pressured to have to do something.
So technically a 5 versus 4 for now. Ultraviolet though dropping, Seeker getting value. He's been able to keep the Defiant at arm's length for long enough to find a perfect target.
Yeah, they're just getting picked. Valiant's doing a great job of returning the favor of just pumping out damage. All the positioning that was gained in that first minute is instantly lost. And Defiant, one of the issues that you have with this composition is you don't have great ultimates. The Mercy Valk, it's great, not an extremely useful ultimate. Same thing with Dragon Strike. Maybe that's why you're starting to see them switch away. They don't want to put all their eggs in that basket.
Valiant pretty comfortable on this composition though. This Ramatra style. Oh, nice Bionade there, keeping Kalush standing. Really threading the needle if you're Ultraviolet, because doesn't want to expose himself to the Ash. Doesn't want to step too far into the choke. Hydron juking his teammate. Hate to see that. Ana players grimacing all around the world. Finally found Seeker though, so there it is. First port of call, achieved for the Toronto Defiant. It's tick in the Ash checkbox. Now Kalush will hold the door against both these backliners, which means that Nos has no help healing-wise. No heal packs, no nothing.
Yeah, Kalush doesn't even need to use the Primal Rage. CJ throws the Nano onto Crory as a last-ditch effort to maybe turn the fight, but it just wasn't enough. Crory just can't find a target. Defiant will close that one out. Now we're going to see Seeker move over to the Hanzo. It doesn't feel like Seeker's able to find a hero that he feels comfortable on.
Yeah. And it's going to be the kind of map that, you know, to be fair, you just come off the attacking side where like Ash doesn't necessarily have like natural high ground advantage. Here on defense, you can play from this position, but Hydron obviously will be really threatening because he can just pop up above that barrier and take shots and not be punished for playing that way. So no surprise to see Seeker on the Hanzo as well.
It's so dangerous. Oh, nice.
Bye.
So dangerous as a support when there's a Hanzo doing this where he's just popping over the wall because he's going to hit you eventually, but you can't play in fear of it always coming. Otherwise, it's getting value in its own right. Croy gets stuck. Spectra gets Nos as well.
That is such a high value kill on the Ramatra. He was blocking and everything, but Spectra ran the numbers. He knew he had it. Cryo is so close to annihilation, he has to switch to the Winston here.
Yeah, Toronto is also trying to force the Valiant to use an ultimate or at least continue the staggers. They're going to have the positioning. The back line is going to be on the high ground. No major ultimates for either side. It's just a lot of sustainability. So it's going to come down to individual mechanics.
Cryo hoping to make it harder for Hydron to play safely from this high ground. And again, eventually, you feel like he's going to find something. Yes, CJ is living dangerously. Here comes Seeker, part of the dive, apparently. I love that Dragon Strike. Quite a scary prospect indeed. Primal Rage, Kalush attempting, or rather, what, was it? Yeah, it was attempting to keep that player inside the Dragon Strike. It wasn't Primal, just good old-fashioned Winstoning.
Dodges asleep.
Not his first rodeo.
Oh,
sorry about that one, CJ. That is filth. Ultraviolet reigns. The purple mist down. The Los Angeles Valiant. Not even Chocolate Rain's going to save you guys now.
Kalush just playing the backline like a fiddle. Great follow-up there from Ultraviolet as well. And the same story as the first map, Mitch. They're trying to play something different. It's not working that well, and when they end up in the mirror, they're just unable to keep up.
Yeah, awkward at many points for them. Seeker obviously showing us a few different picks there. And the Ash, we really wanted to see it get going, but it was hard for Seeker to make use of that. The Valiant never really controlled that high ground of that middle part of the map. Constantly harassed there by Kalush. The dives were very nice. You can see here, always looking for both backliners. Kalush knows they're going to be playing close together, right? And it's like, it's a nano from CJ to keep Lyra alive, or it's a rally from Lyra to keep CJ alive. Often it's working, but you're occupying both backliners, and there's nothing you can do about it. Kalush just generates so much threat.
Yeah, and that's really the exciting thing about the Toronto Defiant that you're looking at with this new roster, because their dives was one of the weakest parts of their composition last stage. It felt like they were never in the same page. They were always coming in at different times. It felt like Hydron was getting forced to play Sombra, which is a hero that just he isn't comfortable on. While Spectra fills in a lot of these holes, feels like Opener and Ultraviolet are doing a better job of covering each other as well. So good signs here for the Defiant.
Toronto Defiant finding some of that day one sheen here in the second half of the season. Route 66 will be our third battleground. Stick around. sure many of us would have hoped to see the Valiant continue to build momentum after such a, I want to say historic, yeah, it was a historic victory over the Los Angeles Gladiators recently. However, the new foe in front of them have also had a bit of a facelift, and they are looking pretty solid on the Winston comp. Something that you sort of pointed out, Scott, not exactly what the Defiant were looking great on before the mid-season break.
Yeah, they've obviously made adjustments and improvements, recognizing that if they keep with what they have, as much as they had great pieces, something was going wrong. It's hard to tell from the outside, but internally they recognize changes need to happen. Head over to Route 66, another map that's pretty dive-orientated. I expect to see a lot of Sombra come through again, so the Valiant definitely going to be struggling in this one. I did want to go back to, the Valiant, win over the Gladiators, because when do you think the next time those two are going to play? Because are they just going to hold the battle for LA for just like the next 12 months?
Oh, actually, they might, in fairness. I mean, I don't see them, there won't be any postseason matchups between those two teams.
Probably not if things keep going this way.
It sucks because it's just when the Battle of LA started to mean something again.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Valiant obviously sort of went across the pond, sort of ran away after losing a couple of those battles, but, now we have the Defiant taking on the Valiant. Seeker probably going to stick towards the Tracer or the Sombra. I don't think that you're going to be able to play like a hit scan on this map. It's incredibly difficult. But with that said, Hydron on the Hanzo, maybe just feeling himself after that Midtown.
Okay. Look, I mean, defensively, I guess that sort of makes sense, right? The Valiant, though, do you?
Okay.
What?
No, not what I was expecting.
What is this? Okay. The
Wow.
Junker Queen and the Bastion composition. I would ask Seeker about this, but he would just say, oh yeah, just play Bastion. Wouldn't really
Play
give me much
Bastion,
in-
go
yeah,
brrr,
not much
win.
insight. Okay, what's the plan here, Scott? Lay it out for me.
Okay, here's the plan. You're getting booty bopped in the Winston mirror, so here's what you do. Throw a curveball. I actually like this. You know how I was saying last time when they played the Junker Queen, they didn't have anything that forced the Defiant to do anything. Now you have a Bastion, you have high damage, you have high tempo. At some point, the Defiant are going to have to come into you, and that's where you have the advantage. They have a Symmetra, they're going to have turrets, they're going to be very defensible. They TP onto the high ground.
They really want to throw some hands here. It's going to be a sleep dart, though, connecting onto the Bastion. Opener falls, though. Toronto looking battered and bruised after that engagement, but Hydron's able to find that pick. The Symmetra from Nos as well. Okay, so you see now, this is a harebrained plan. Not the first team to try and use the Bastion in the league, to be fair, but this isn't Shambali Monastery, and this is a Symmetra all the way through. The Valiant now have a really genuine staging ground from this top of Big Earls, and the card is well and truly on the move.
Interesting play. I love this. This is something that is so hard to deal with. You need to really coordinate great dives. Croy takes down Spectra, but they do lose Nos. That's fine if you're the Valiant. As long as the Bastion's alive, you have the damage to win.
Kalush gets nanoed here, so feeling a bit confident. Not confident enough to challenge the Oh, what? The Dragon Strike! Hydron really lined that up nicely. Layer out of the picture. I won't mention what happened there to Ultraviolet. Things happen
Where's
sometimes.
Opener going? He just bashed. I think he missed the bash, went over the Winston, and ended up in the backline. CJ's going to drop the rush, recognizing that they have the advantage. 3x on the point. This might be a fast cap here, Mitch.
Toronto extremely unbalanced right now. They're not really sure what to do about this comp. They haven't made any switches into it. Nos, though, comes off the Symmetra now. Is going to be playing the Echo. This is very wacky, so you've got to be pretty adaptable for the Defiant to figure out a way around this. Collusion, the Primal Rage, that's going to be important. We saw the ultimate come out there from Seeker and having minimal effect as per usual. Krabi going to be knocked back on the cup, but the Junker Queen's a scary prospect. Is this goats?
No, hey, no, don't say the G word. No, don't you dare say the G word. This is not goats. I would like to clear that up for the viewers. It is weird though, and
I'm the butterfly guy, right? Is this goats?
It is weird, and that's what the point of playing these compositions is. You throw something that's going to push the Defiant off tilter, and they just didn't respond effectively. Now they're the ones making changes towards a more cohesive comp. Seeker on the Hanzo, Nos on the Echo.
Nos down, yep. Too much damage coming his way. Ultraviolet had the same idea as Hydron. They combined to quickly remove the Echo. Krabi forced to the low ground here. Had to work hard to get that positioning and has to give that up. All right, chance here for the Defiant to take a breather and start to see a bit more clearly.
For Croy, yeah, I was going to say you have the Rampage, but what are you going to do with it here? You're never going to close the distance to find any value. Switches over to the Winston, recognizing you just have to do it. Nos is going to stay on the Echo. That's going to be a hard pick against the Ashe, but the duplicate you can find a way in.
Yeah.
Maybe just wanting to hold on to that one.
Also against the Ana as well. I mean, sitting duck a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
For Ultraviolet.
And look at how much airspace you have. Like, you can't hide behind anything. You go in the air, they're going to be able to see you.
Okay, Nos going to try and go around the outside. Nice little dynamite ticks there for Hydron, getting closer to that Bob. It's going to be a duplicate of the Tracer. Nos probably just using it to stay the heck alive. Spectra doesn't want to full commit onto a target he knows that's just going to come back into Echo form and have the cooldowns available once more. Spectra aggressive!
Oh.
What a stick! CJ going to be down. Liar with the rally in play. It's far from enough to keep this backline standing under all of this scrutiny. Here comes Kaluj with a primal rage that maybe wasn't even necessary. He just wanted to keep going, stay alive, and again put Toronto further and further ahead.
Spectra is sick. These DPS players just keep one-upping each other. They come into the league.
They're just coming off conveyor belts, ready-made, just add water.
Yeah, and then they just balloon into these superstars that just keep impressing us time and time again. Another Tracer player that's just turning heads. He has that Echo as well. Such a big pickup for the Defiant.
Seeker has to play from the low ground here, unenviable. Technically outranges the Ashe, but still doesn't feel great to have to come out of this choke towards Hydron.
They've got the positioning off of that Nano.
Krawi sleeping it off. Very low, yeah. Great stuff from Ultraviolet. Really been, whether it's, Nos on Echo at bay or Krawi's been able to keep these players quiet from the side of the Valiant. That Dragon Strike there, really just an adornment for this environment.
And Hydron's just standing up here for what feels like free, just shooting down, pumping out damage. While Seeker on the Hanzo just hasn't been able to connect. I liked it when you were playing the Bastion composition, but yeah, there has to be a swap. But even then, going over to the Ashe, you're essentially approaching into the opposition Ashe. That's such a difficult way to play. You can see, like, it's going to be difficult for him to peek at all.
Hydron knows he's being perceived. There is a dart from CJ whizzes past his left ear. Krawi already half health by the time he touches down, and CJ doesn't have a great line of sight on him. This could be scary. Primal's going to have to be used. Yep, there it comes.
So early. Like, by the time he's primaled and he tries to get on a target, he's already lost half of his health. Great play from Defiant, just pushing him away. There's an opening from Nos on opener.
Kalush sleeping as well. Nano Boost, though, is in play, but the damage might already have been done to the Defiant. Kalush can't do anything here. I guess builds Primal.
Is he going to go?
Okay. He wants an environmental potentially because there's a rally now for Liar. Hard to find final blows here. Yeah, he knows it too.
If he gets that rally out and he gets out, that's a win for you, because now on this re-engage, the Valiant aren't going to have that tool that's going to give them the sustainability on the cart. He cannot go down though. He's purple, but does get healed up.
Seeker now has the advantage though. He gets to play into the choke from the Defiant. Bob's going to help them come out though. Pretty key component of a contest if that were to be necessary. And Kalush just wants to throw the bubble down, deny the high ground away from Seeker, giving time for Hydron and Co to set up. Just, oh, that's not good.
Where's Kalush going?
Geronimo!
And that's a huge pick. Liar coming in clutch once again for the Los Angeles Valiant, able to shut down the dive, and from there, everything else crumbles.
All right, we have ourselves a game now. Toronto eventually have to concede that point B, and now we move inside the hangar here for the last phase of the map. Not a lot of time to work with for the Valiant. Getting it done in overtime. Seeker calling for a pause here, quite a critical juncture. At least he was able to find some value from that Ashe switch though earlier on. Seeker 4 and 2 in terms of final blows, but I will say the DPS from the Defiant, a little quiet. Hydron's 2 and 3, Spectra 3 and 3.
Yeah, it really feels like Kaluj is the one who's been stepping up, just sort of being that pressure that's constantly going at the front. But Valiant did a great job of playing this sort of very cheesy comp with a Bastion Symmetra and the Junker Queen, and then slowly transitioning into something that makes sense. They made all the right swaps at all the right times. As much as it looked a little ugly at times, their consistent change is what ended up getting them this first point, and now they have a good composition for the third point and the ultimates to back it up. They're getting close to the Bob, they're getting close to the rally. Spectra is lurking in the backline though, you gotta be careful. He's been so effective with these pulse bombs.
Waiting for an opportune moment. You saw, I think, the model of Seeker's Ashe there looking towards him. Force Krawi down. Nos already very low. And see straight away Kaluj can taste blood in the water. Pulse bomb there. May still catch one. No. Looks like the Valiant able to disperse like a far inner field away from that one.
Seeker's got the bomb. They are slowly getting the positioning moving.
No pulse from Nos. He's had a great round so far.
Yeah. Unable to do anything, but Kaluj is the one who goes in with the nano, gets onto the back line. They do take down Seeker, but Spectre pays with his life.
Open it from the high ground, go for the rally. Really only about half the damage and healing of Laya so far, so has him now to get himself in the game in the same fashion. Laya will reciprocate. 2 rallies in play now. Kaluj realizes that his opponents are far more durable than he otherwise intended to go up against him. He is going to fall. Shield bash there from Laya, so another overtime push for victory for the Valiant is in order.
You can see the Hydron. He's actually flanking on the right side of your screen. They need to deal with him, otherwise he's going to be a constant threat. If they can pick him off and isolate him, that would be huge, but unable to find him.
I think Nos is going for him now. Hydron's been spotted out though. Now he's just out of position. Getting healed up, but for how much longer can this happen? Nice job keeping him alive, but Seeker makes that an impossibility. Headshot connection is good, but he pays for it with his life. Ultraviolet gets caught in the path of Nos and looked like a deer in those headlights. Going to be Kaluj with the bubble down on the cart to try and keep this alive, but my goodness, the Valiant are finding another gear to go to. Spectre has to recall away from the cart. CJ uncontested, and we have a map completion with no time left from the Valiant.
I'm just saying, Mitch. Valiant reverse swept the Los Angeles Gladiators.
Yeah, it's in the playbook.
It is in the playbook. Maybe this is just their secret weapon. This is their special sauce. When they go down 2-0, they hit that next level. They hit that next gear because honestly, that wasn't, yes, obviously the first point was something unique, but other than that, they were playing head-to-head and they were besting the Defiant. They can keep playing at that level. You spoke to it about the stats of the DPS. Hydron and Spectre are just not able to have that same level of impact that they have on the first 2 maps.
Spectre, whether it's been Echo or Tracer at times in this series, has really stepped up to the mark. I mean, I guess we were kind of interested to see Toronto go away from the Sombra strat.
Yeah.
Neither team is trying to play that here. Well, until now. Seeker going to be coming out on that role for the Valiant. But yeah, like Hanzo versus Hanzo wasn't overly consistent. The whip
sleep
shot.
into whip.
I'm telling you, this Laya guy, I'm telling you.
Hey,
He's nasty
honestly,
with it.
I think everyone believes. I think he's won a lot of fans after that Gladiators win. You know, how do you not love the Valiant? You know, it's an underdog story for the ages. And they're just playing at a very high level. Something that is interesting about the Defiant, though, is I don't think they've played a lick of Sombra in this series so far, and I don't think we've seen it much in the past. They're really straying away from it. They'd rather put Spectre on the Tracer and Hydron on any form of hit scan than try and play that Sombra dive style. Maybe just accepting that they're not going to be able to play that way.
It's all well and good here, and maybe in a matchup like this, but eventually you're going to run into problems with it, I suspect. There's a reason why it's such a popular pick. Oh, okay. Hydron there, yeah, maybe getting a little bit ahead of himself. No one had really cleared CJ's position on that high ground, and it was an easy target. But they trade. Crowley's been picked up here, so the only tank standing is for the Defiant.
And now the Valiant have to be careful. I would like to see the backline start disengaging here, because if they go too late, the Defiant will follow them. Probably should be back in a few seconds, so they should be fine, but Defiant trying to take big L's, trying to take the positioning. This is the central spot that you want to be. But the thing the Defiant need to look at is the Valiant on the right side of your screen. That's where they're perched up, but another unfortunate pick here for the Valiant as Hydron picks another one.
Seeker tried to back away, but he didn't have a translocator deployed, so he throws it. The Defiant just see it, and they send Spectre after it. They remove it, he has to hang around, and Nosh just randomly gets caught there. Okay, an inauspicious start to this defense from the Valiant after a really hard-fought finish on attack. The Defiant now, this is allowing them to really build up a big time bank and to start to snowball potentially some of this old advantage. The Valiant taking a ton of damage, evidenced by CJ having built that nano first. The Valiant need to make use of that here, but they're going to have to give up A.
So many staggers. That was just a mistake from the Valiant. They either needed to fully commit or fully leave.
Right.
One or the other. You can't do both, because that's what happens. One player falls, then they need to start running, and then they need to start running, then the next person falls. And there they lose the first point in a rapid time, and also it didn't cost the Defiant anything.
Getting to hold on to all of this coming into this phase. Normally this is where like the defenders are actually starting to pick some of their ultimates after giving up first point, if it's been a 1 or 2 fight situation on A. Spectre and Nos, the latter definitely winning out in most key metrics as Tracer this map.
Anna Croy, Seeker is coming up to the EMP, but doesn't even need it. Takes down Hydron. I think you've got to be happy with that. Kaluj is actually going to commit the Primal Rage. It's going to prompt Croy to do the same.
Forces that out. Opener has to use Rally here, and Ultraviolet can't be saved. Can't none of yourself, son. Great juggling from Crowy as we shelve this idea of no Winston from this team.
Yeah. Croy, not known for his Winston as a player, but some great juggle mechanics right there. Able to take down Ultraviolet, and then all of a sudden, that's great for you. I think if you're the defensive Winston, if you can trade your Primal Rage for the offense's Winston, that's a huge tool that they need to get in. You don't need it as much as them.
Yeah, they need that disruption to be able to advance without losing out in a poke war when they have, like, you know, topographical disadvantage playing from the low ground and such.
Seeker dropping an EMP on Kaluj as soon as he jumps in. We've seen this so many times.
Yeah, Sombra's good, bro.
You take that. Yeah, as much as it doesn't feel like you're getting that big impact EMP, if you EMP the Winston and he falls, there's nothing else the opposition team can do. You win that fight. Doesn't matter if you kill 5 instantly. If anything, it's better to get the staggers.
Couple of consecutive fights here for the Valiant. This is definitely where they can start to put themselves in a winning position on Route 66. Get the Defiant down to like a minute or less going into that last phase of the map. You know, before time-making extension, then you're feeling good. That's awkward though. Seeker lingers a little too long.
And we've spoken into existence as well. Hydron over into the Sombra. This is something that he struggled with in the spring stage. Let's see if he's made many improvements. Nice pathing there from Kaluj. He realizes he was at risk of getting body blocked and caught, so deft little jump to get him closer to the exit and be able to back away. With flip sides, all of a sudden the Valiant's on the offense. Now, force the rally from Laya though, crucially. Recall from Spectre as Nos decides to go for another target entirely. Oh my goodness, Spectre just so transfixed by watching Krawi sail overhead that he doesn't see Nos descending upon him with basically a one-clip. Uncharacteristic error. And then they descend on the backline and the backline has to reset. That's a huge play for the Valiant because that could have fallen away from them. They used the rally, they were stuck in the tunnel. Seeker's running back from spawn. That could have been another mistake that led to another mistake that led to a lost point. So the Valiant holding on 2.5 minutes for the Defiant. Oh, I thought history might be repeating itself there for a moment, but Seeker is able to get out without offering himself up. Okay, no long-range Bionade connection there. Kaluj quickly just trying to zone Krawi away, but CJ's able to pick Spectre off here. He's able to find a couple of free DPS kills on occasion, just having decent sightline and being freed up to focus on damage over heals. Feels like the Defiant are the ones who are playing desperate now. They committed a Primal Rage, Pulse Bomb to no avail. The Valiant just honestly playing it perfectly. Hydron's lurking in the backline with this EMP. Who's he going to try and target? Looks like he wanted CJ, but thinking better of it. Liar's spy checking constantly. They've definitely tracked this ultimate. Hydron caught outside the play here, maybe a little bit too late. Hopes to make this EMP count. I don't know if he needed to kill Krawi. Krawi was pretty low, but maybe he'd have found that Primal Rage if that EMP had not come through. Yeah, that was great play by the Defiant, but the issue that comes from that, they use the Nano, the Rally, and the EMP all to do one counter dive, and the Valiant used the EMP of their own. It's unfortunate, but they do have ways to get back in here. Croy with the Primal Rage. He was showing off his mechanics before. He's going to need it again. This is extremely scrappy from both sides. And a minute left, coming to the next phase of the map. That's kind of what the Valiant wanted. Even if they give up this checkpoint, they're in good shape. Hack on Kaluj, not successful. Pulse Bomb, though, absolutely was. And once more, the Winston is out of the picture for Toronto. That's a minute remaining. Defiant, they're trying to get out of this fight. Open is kind of stuck here. Are the Valiant going to be able to punish them? Doesn't look... Oh, huge purple. Sleep on Krawi. Open to Ultraviolet, going to be able to get away with this. Oh, that's nasty. Overextension, overconfidence. He dove in, but no one else was able to follow him up. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication. TJ in trouble. No pulse stick. Hack on Spectre on that high ground, but he's being healed right now. Fortunately for him, Nos can't boast the same, I suppose. Laya, rally now has expired. He actually shield bashes forward towards Spectre, puts himself in a dangerous spot. Another good hack on Krawi. He has to wait before he can jump, and that gives Ultraviolet time to link up. That's a point. Yep. Nah, yeah, nah. They got him. I got him. Croy, he does have to do that, though. He gets nanoed, has to go for the backline. If he just decides to sit on the point, he's not going to win that anyway. You have to have faith and trust that someone on your team is going to be able to get there. They did run down the clock. Defiant only have 1.5 minutes to close out this third point. The issue is for the Valiant, though, is Defiant have 5 ultimates coming up, Mitch. This time they want to hope to make good use of them. I think a couple fights ago, they spent really big just to try and break the deadlock that was being inflicted on them. Hydron, he thought he was getting away from that one. Hangs out too long in the open, but is able to find a later EMP. At least results in a trade of Winstons. Oh, CJ, nice. Not getting away from that one. Sorry, buddy. Tooth Fairy left something a little different under your pillow this time around. Never got one of those under my pillow. That's crazy. Valiant is coming back, though. They will get another fight. Toronto Defiant, I'm actually surprised they're playing so far back. I thought they would want to hold these doors, not give the Valiant an opportunity to get out. Kalush left. That could be an issue.
Has Primal, though. That disruption. Scary prospect. Can't chase CJ back inside the spawn, but is well and truly entrenched behind enemy line. Ah, yes! El Presidente emerges from the bunker as DEFCON 1, apparently. But it's not enough. Just Seeker cannot turn the tides with the Bastion, and so we're going to run it back. The Defiant, it's a narrow lead. 19 seconds, that's half a fight at best.
Yeah, and anything can happen with this short amount of time. If you lose one fight, or if you win one fight, how many times in an overtime push have we seen that snowball away from a team? You lose the first fight, and then someone gets picked for the second fight, and then all of a sudden, they're up to 5 points.
The Valiant, though, have the cheese on this offense.
The president could come out again.
So the question is, have the Defiant been able to wrap those arms together and figure out a way to basically stop that Bastion strat in its tracks?
That is a fun part of having an unconventional trick up your sleeve, is the opposition must always be wary of it. Like, so if you're the Defiant, do you build a composition that's going to work against what you would assume is a dive, or do you try and come out with something that's like, well, if they come out Bastion, this will handle it quite well?
Now, I suppose EMP pretty powerful against Bastion, you know, in terms of being able to disrupt that sort of tank configuration here. You are playing Hanzo, so you can pressure Bastion from a very safe distance, but you don't get that space if they're using a sim to teleport in.
The problem as well is if you play that Sombra, you say like, oh, if you get a hack in that isolation, but if your first dive goes catastrophically wrong, all of a sudden that becomes a massive issue. See what the Valiant do decide to do. It is going to be the Junker Queen, less extreme of a cheese, but similar vein. High damage output. They're just trying to do something different. And now the Defiant, is their composition going to be able to deal with this?
Not quite aged blue vein, more like a Havarti. Something a little fruity, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of different strats available to the Los Angeles Valiant here. Showing us a variation. The Defiant are going to have to figure this one out on the spot.
Yeah. Seeker with the Ash. Once again, he's going to be pumping out so much damage. They have to be very careful of him, but on the same vein, Seeker has to be careful. Because Valiant is playing a slow style, what's going to happen is if anyone gets picked at any moment, that's a huge nade, but a Suzu to follow from CJ.
Hydron's going to be careful. I mean, he can only be healed by a heal pack spot opener, and there are a finite number of those. There's no Inspire procs for the Brig playing up on that high ground.
Yeah.
So he has to hope to shield, but when that dynamite damage comes in, that's really annoying to heal through.
Yeah, Valiant have bunkered themselves down in the bottom of Big Earls, but this can also be a death trap.
Wait, Ultrafire has nano, but Kalush is gone. He can't get it. Oh, just in the nick of time. Can you believe it? All right, Kalush lives to fight longer, and Seeker, unfortunately, is out of the engagement early. This one looks like it might be over before it really began. Out the Toronto Defiant, they jockey back, they give some ground, they build nano. This is brass tacks, fundamentals of Overwatch, and it gets the Defiant a hold.
And that's the issue with being on the clock there for the Valiant and trying something like that is you run out of time, and once the Defiant have ultimates, they can just go. Go they do, but it is not over. This is actually pretty far for 1 minute and 19 seconds because it's going to take Defiant a while to get around the corner. So realistically, Defiant just needs to win one team fight and they will close out this map, but that's a lot more difficult than it sounds.
Especially if you run into a comp that you're not expecting, again, you have to take some time to actually feel it out. Decide if your win condition changes based on your expectation.
What do you play here if you're the Valiant? I think an Ashe or a Hanzo here from Seeker, I don't think that's a bad idea as well, but I think you don't want to be playing the Junker Queen.
Cheddar. Just Cheddar.
Oh, actually, he's going to go for the Sombra. As I said, Sombra does have that gamble of one botch dive, and it could be everything. But if Seeker is able to charge an EMP up fast enough, it could be the difference maker as well.
How interesting that on what is the final showdown for this map. We get both teams go back to very, very standard comps. Really just want to trust in their fundamentals, less than like an off-the-wall kind of strategy. Hydron again on that Hanzo out of the gates. Felt like Hydron was forced to switch to Sombra, you know, midway through that attack because of what Seeker was able to do.
I am surprised Hydron is going to come back out on this Hanzo. If he's not able to find any value on this one, it's going to feel real bad compared to playing something like, I don't know, an Ashe or a Sombra, as you said.
Hydron's position getting pinged out by the Valiant here. They can't linger for long. They can't do much of a spawn camp. Los Angeles get the information they need. Probably this matches expectations quite closely.
Yeah. You can see the Valiant, they're trying to get ult charge up, they're trying to get the nano, they're trying to get the EMP, but they're giving up a lot of positioning, and this is just scary going up against the Hanzo.
Krawi not fully committing.
There goes Nos.
What happened there? Open able to find the kill with the whip shot. Seeker has to get out now. This may well be disastrous. You only have the Sombra here for that backline pressure, and Seeker's making himself pretty obvious right now. CJ's low. Ah, this one's cooked.
Seeker is coming back. He's got 80% to an EMP if he can get to it, and they can stall the point long enough.
Recall, 81% and counting. We're not going to achieve liftoff here, Scott, unfortunately. This one is a fail to launch. The Los Angeles Valiant keep them wings tucked in, friends. Save them for another day. The Toronto Defiant figure it out. Overcome some weird comps thrown their way. Just play a better fundamental game of Overwatch.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Valiant, just not a better dive team than the Toronto Defiant. There is some optimistic takeaways from this one. They did have their moments, but for the most part, Defiant, especially this retooled Defiant, just looking a lot more immaculate, especially when Spectre is playing the way he is.
Definitely moments throughout this series where it was pretty rough around the edges of Overwatch. Yeah. I think this Toronto Defiant team looks a lot more stable now. I mean, let's just think, what if Spectre has that map 1 performance or something approaching that all the way through this series, right? Maybe this doesn't even approach the same degree of closeness. Toronto playing the dive style. It looks like they really want to nail that down. They're playing that into basically every look from the Valiant. Hydron showing us Hanzo, and they are still showing us a reluctance to play the Sombra into a lot of these comps. Look, I don't think it's a stretch to say that's definitely something they want to shore up in their arsenal when they now move out to face the rest of the league.
And that's really the question a lot of us have for the Defiant is, where does the buck stop? Yeah. Obviously, they squeaked out a win against the Vancouver Titans. This match against the Valiant, as much as it was a clean 3-0, there were moments of ugliness, as you said. So as they play better opponents, they have big expectations for themselves. They want to be able to start getting these wins against better teams. So I want to see how far they can go, because they're at 5-5 now. Another team that is eyeing off the playoffs. They want to make it to Toronto, their own grand finals almost.
Would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, just a cherry on top for sure. But again, this is roster pretty heavily retooled coming into this season. It's clear they've got a lot of work to do. On the Valiant side of things, look, I've got to say, pretty happy to see the Winston comps worked in. But Kaluj, speaking of Winston's, definitely a force to be reckoned with throughout this map. I especially like his Midtown play. He was constantly harassing this backline. How are you supposed to play remotely as aggressive as Krawi when your healers just cannot see you through the flurry of fists coming their way from the Winston?
And that was the impressive thing from Kaluj in this series. And, there has been a lot of talk about his Winston play, because the difficulty is, how do you maximize value, get in, while also taking the littlest amount of resources possible? Because at some times, you're not going to be able to get healed. And that's what makes the best Winstons in the world the best. And Kaluj, he's had moments like that, but if he can consistently keep doing it, that's a huge boon for the Defiant.
You would forget, of course, after seeing him last year thrust into the spotlight on that San Francisco Shock team. The guy, fairly still green in league terms, right? What was his second year now?
Yeah.
In the Overwatch League, so still plenty of time to sort of develop as a player. Really strong showing over the course of this match, and that low death count, that 2.7, that really, I do have to give some credit over to this backline of the Toronto Defiant. I think Open is a great addition. He finds that key kill on Nos at the end of Route 66, the start of that last fight, and I'm thinking, oh, this is over.
And a lot of the complaints about Kaluj is like, oh, he keeps dying, but that could have been an issue of the backline of his team was struggling. So Opener's addition, all of a sudden, Ultraviolet has more freedom. He's staying alive for longer, which inherently means Kaluj is doing the exact same thing. So maybe things starting to click for this team.
Yeah. Again, Hydron also always a dangerous player. The Hanzo came out here able to find some degree of success. Didn't see it, though, from the Los Angeles Valiant. What a great game earlier this week. This one, not quite to the same level, so fans will be hoping they can find some consistency. We're going to head over to our friends at the desk to wrap up quite the weekend of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to Watchpoint, everybody. Toronto Defiant getting the win against Los Angeles Valiant 3-0. I think the casters sort of highlighted, it wasn't always clean, but it was still a dominant win for the Toronto Defiant.
Kind of what we expected and wanted from the Toronto Defiant as well. I mean, they've had a pretty fun weekend now, getting 2 wins, of course, beating the Vancouver Titans yesterday, beating the Valiant today. If you are a Defiant fan rooting for them to make it to the playoffs, this was the weekend you needed to kickstart the summer stage with.
I think this is all you can ask for, right? Like, this is a great performance from Defiant. Spectra looks insane. Opener,
Yeah.
you know, certainly creating opportunities for his team. This 5K was dirty, man. Just showing why people have been saying this guy's best hero is Echo, and there couldn't be a better time to be joining the Overwatch League if your best hero is Echo on this flex DPS role.
Yeah, I do want to shout out Kalush as well, who got player of the match.
Right.
I mentioned it yesterday when I was commentating with Jaws in the Vancouver-Toronto match, that like both Punk and Kalush, who were off-tank players in the 6 vs 6 format, they've stepped up their Winston game massively, and you can see some tendencies from like the elite Winston players, like Fearless, like Smurf. Some of those tendencies are now like being transferred to some of these Winstons who are trying to pick it up, right? So Kalush, we saw some aggressive Primal Rages, we saw some good juggles in this match, to be honest, and like these are things that Kalush is improving upon and really helping his team with. And now when you're in a Tracer and an Echo meta, having a great Winston, of course, is going to be a big boon for you. So the work from Kalush on the Winston is paying off. He's improved massively.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I saw a number of times where that bubble shield came down and just completely stops the heals from Liar and CJ. They're just getting beaten in that positional game, and so much impact being felt there.
Yeah.
I think this was another like fun match to watch because of the banter that was going on as well with like Seeker and like the other players from Toronto Defiant. I love seeing banter.
Yeah, the old AT guys, and I mean, it's just like that's definitely very much the NA environment. So it's fun to see the Valiant. They're not letting their spirits go down. Like no matter what, I think this team is still going to be. You know, they've taken tough losses before. I think they'll be able to bounce back from this.
Sure.
And really, the challenge for Valiant is not necessarily beating teams at the top level. The challenge for them is just survive, get out of the bottom
more
three.
rings, right?
Yeah, get into the play-ins. That's the goal for this Valiant team, and I think it's going to be exciting to see whether they can achieve it.
I think they can because even today we had some interesting comps shown by LA Valiant, right, Jake?
Oh yeah. We got a special actually, you know, and I wanted to look at this for this Valiant comp for the people at home because this is absolutely a strat that, you know, if you're playing with your friends, like you guys can pull this thing off. So I'm gonna walk down, break something down.
Oh, big boy illustration.
Okay, for the people.
What do we got?
All right, so we've got the Sim Bastion special, guys. These two heroes right here. That's the key. That's the key. And I think, I mean, you know, as much as this looks zany, right? It looks like a comp that is like, I mean, right? It's not what you normally see in the Overwatch League, and for good reason. I mean, it doesn't work everywhere. But the real issue with this comp is only mobility, right? Like, it has incredible amounts of damage. You've got great peel from these two supports, very survivable heroes. The issue is mobility, and so on a map like Route 66 that doesn't have a million flank routes, relatively straightforward, the teleporter can just be the solution to that mobility. So we're gonna see Nas build a teleporter and climb right up into Hydron's face onto this big Earl sign where Hydron, I mean, he has to be threatening. Like this is one, I mean, he doesn't really have any other choice about where to play on Hanzo if he wants to be aggressive. And this is it's gonna cost him and Opener dearly, right? These players are gonna get caught by this Sim TP. So we can just roll the clip and watch how aggressive Valiant is. As soon as this TP comes down, boom, shout from the Queen, and they're just chasing that low mobility hero first. It's Brig first, taking all the aggro for his team. Good job, but it's not enough. And now Hydron tries to make something happen. He actually does find an incredible counter pick here, Hydron. I mean, this is like a game-changing kill. But again, now Krawi's chasing him down. He's going to find that kill as well. And so it does get chaotic from here. Nas is going to come back on the Echo, but the Bastion stays alive, and this hero is incredibly hard to recontest into. So if that first fight goes wrong, this strategy falls apart. You know, ults start coming. The Winston team's going to eat you up. But if you can execute really well with that first TP play, catch some low mobility heroes off guard, the key is knowing your target. You've got to find that Brig. You've got to find that Hanzo, the heroes who can't easily escape you.
That's the most annoying composition I've seen in my life. Like just 5 people TPing up on the roof and there's a Bastion, a Sim chasing you. If I face that in ranked, like I'll almost disconnect the game. Like I'm almost like, no, I'm packing it up. You won the game.
Teams are getting creative. I like it. I love creativity. And also, I mean, they were being creative. I think Valiant showed signs of improvement. But I mean, this match, it was all Toronto Defiant. And talking about Toronto Defiant, we have a post-match interview with Hydron ready for all of you guys. Hello, Hydron.
Yo,
hey. Congratulations on getting the win. I just want to ask you, because Toronto Defiant made some new, I mean, you guys brought in some new players, and your new DPS partner, I guess, is Spectra, who you and Spectra both of them have been killing it this whole week. What's it like playing with Spectra?
He's great. He's one of the funniest teammates I've had, and
really,
he brings like a really good, energy and vibe. And his English is pretty good, so he's a good time to play with.
What's it like playing with him when it comes to like hero swapping and stuff like that? Because obviously in the spring stage, you know, you had Sam and Speedily to play around with, and so you all have different favorite heroes, all have different compositions. Now it's just you and Spectra, really. So what's it like swapping between these heroes, and do you have a preference, like a route where you want to commit to, like heroes you prefer to play?
I mean, I think I lead like originally as like a Tracer player, and I haven't been able to play it. So playing Tracer is always fun, and the meta being Echo Tracer, you know, kind of allows me to do that. So anytime it's not a boring hit scan at the back of the map, it's always a good time.
A boring hit scan.
Yeah, you know, I feel for him. I feel for him. Boring hit scan at the back of the map. It gets a little old. I'm the one who wants to stay off Tracer. I'd rather play the boring hit scan, but yeah, preferences. Hydron, what I want to ask you about is something a little bit different. I don't know if you caught the show yesterday, but Dante, he was throwing blows. And in a spirit of fairness, you know I'm a fair guy. I'm going to give you a chance to rebut that. How are you feeling about the haircut? Choice words for Dante?
You know what it is? It's a minor nerf. It's temporary. The hair will come back. It'll regroup. As per Dante, I don't really want to say too much. You know, he gets a little sensitive sometimes. I'll just leave him be. You know, he can have that one.
Okay, wow.
Wow, big dividend man. Okay.
Because I feel like if I come for Dante here, it doesn't go too well.
Okay. Respect on the name.
You heard that, Dante?
He's maturing. He's holding back, guys. He's not going to do Dante like that.
And quite honestly, I don't think it's that bad. Like, I don't know what the whole deal was.
Yeah.
You look
No,
good,
it's pretty
bro.
bad, but like. Appreciate you though. The hair will come back though.
Yeah, it'll definitely. I mean,
It's
hopefully.
time for the finals. We need to see you there, Hydron. In Toronto.
I'll be there one way or another.
Love it. Dude, Hydron, thank you so much. And again, big congratulations on getting the win, and hope to talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Have a good one, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
What a
I'm
guy.
gonna be there one way or another. That's right. He's
true.
spit it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I hope
hosted
it's
by.
a good game, though. I mean, Toronto Defiant, this rebuild, they look on fire. It's like them and the Shock off these rebuilds. Two teams that I think, like, with Houston flagging a little bit right now in the second half of the season.
And Gladiators.
Yes, Florida and yeah, Gladiators as well. But yes, Florida, Boston looked good, but even Boston, you know, showed some shakiness there. So I think these teams like Toronto, like Shock, are going to be biting at the heels of those top teams. I think we could see a much more competitive top 5, top 6, top 7, which is what we thought we would get coming into the season. And some teams fought. I mean, it's just like, I feel like now it's finally, we're finally getting what we had hoped for this
summer stage is definitely becoming way more competitive than our spring stage. So with that being said, let's take a look at our scores one more time. All the matches that were fought out between the teams. Florida Mayhem beating the Vancouver Titans 3-1. Boston Uprising beating Vegas Eternal 3-1. And then our final match was 3-0 won by Toronto Defiant.
Boston and Florida, they're climbing in the standings as well. I mean, there's 5 teams that make it, 3 directly. So if you can claim one of those top 3 spots, that is going to be crucial.
Who's in the number 2 spot now? Because they all have the same win-loss record.
It's got to be Florida, no?
Is it Florida or Boston?
Surely it's Florida. Because Florida was above before, right?
It's
Boston
a 50% chance.
was still behind. So I think they need
It's fine. It's fine. Standings. Well, we're gonna take a look. We're gonna take a look
playing
at
each other
on
next
Friday.
week.
Yeah, next week. Tune in next week, and we'll find out.
That's like the match to, I mean, kind of seal their fates for the.
To quote Jaws, boom.
Whoom. It's not boom. My favorite line from Jaws is whoom, whoom.
Oh, the Ramatra?
He does that. He goes whoom,
whoom, whoom. I think he says bomb
The
sometimes.
Ramatra Annihilation. I actually know what you're talking about.
whoom, whoom. Anyways, all right. Yeah, whoom, whoom isn't my best of the day, but we're gonna talk about best of the day, and I'm gonna start first. I don't know if you guys saw the show yesterday, but Custa, was touching Mitch. Was giving some rubbing on his chest, and our friend here made a template.
All right.
Okay. A green screen saying that, hey, like, you know, you guys use this and come up with some creative things. And that's what you guys did. My best of the day are these 4 pictures that you guys are going to see right now.
For me.
Starting with this one from Angela.
Okay.
Very cute. Kind of cute. Yeah, right?
Little blooper.
Yeah, he's touching Booper. Okay.
Next up.
Next one is from Oops.
Oh my.
That's Korean.
Oh,
Okay,
these are the spicy preds.
Yeah, the prez that I wish never happened, but it did. And Costa is right there with us.
Oh.
And Ken. All right. Wait, is that Custa's cat? It's not Custa's cat, right?
It's a cat.
It's just a cat?
I think that looks like a cat to me, Danny.
But I do not know if it's.
I don't know. Custa, and my favorite one.
Wait a minute. Hey!
That's more like it.
Whoa.
Custa's love for pectoralis majors, and Hanzo.
Who doesn't love Hanzo?
He doesn't.
Support
He said,
players. I'll tell you who doesn't.
apparently Costa thinks Genji is the better Shimada brother, and I say no, right?
I kind of agree with that, I think.
Nah.
Well,
Hanzo's got like attitude. Like, what's wrong with you?
Bro,
I mean,
Genji's like a
more of
twig.
He's like the hero you can cheer for. You know, Hanzo's
He's like a tiny little boy
challenging.
with a blade.
I kind of like Genji. He's more.
He doesn't have the
upbeat.
muscles.
Yeah, well, some people like dark and brooding. You know, that's what you're into.
Okay.
I'm
Well-
into dark and. Okay, never mind. Yeah, Jake, what's your best of the day?
My best of the day, we had some zaniness going, some out of control situation going on here on Gibraltar, and I want to dive back into it. This
I don't know what that means.
Just you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
Okay.
So take note of where the cart is. It's on first point. And where are we? We're not on first point, Johnny. We're on second.
Uh-huh.
But Vancouver aren't satisfied. They want to hunt these players down.
Okay.
Gets the TP, goes all in, and Charlong's like, nah, we're fighting this one out, man. We're fighting this one out. He's gonna pop the Kitsune and try and clutch, but no. Collapse that down with the Primal Sugar Fuse there to clean it up.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen a fight take place in that location while the card is on first. I mean, there's two different deathmatch maps going
They
on.
were fighting at the end of point, like second point, where the cart didn't even touch first point.
With the Kitsune rush. I mean, like,
And they committed. I was like, wow.
That's some selfless gaming right there, and that's a throwback to all the old school 2017 people.
No, but it's
out there.
actually your spawn. They're like behind their own spawn.
Yeah.
I've done this before.
That's a bit too far. All right. For my best of the day, there was one player who stood out today. That was Knife. Oh, there was many. But Knife was one of them.
Oh, Knife.
Spectre is enough. But Knife was amazing for the Vegas Eternal.
Yeah.
Even though 1-3 loss, we were raving about it. Everyone on Twitter was going crazy about it, and we were going crazy about it in the green rooms. This is my best of the day. But I'm willing to share this one with us and the entire, Overwatch League Twitter community. Like, it's our best of the day. Do you want to join in on my best of the day?
I'll join in. 100%.
Everyone should be a Knife fan right now. I mean, this guy's tearing
This guy,
it up. Dude, his reaction after they held on Root and won it, I mean, he was so psyched. You can see what this means to him, how hard he's fighting. This is his debut in the Overwatch League, and despite the struggles Vegas might be having, I mean, one player who can, like, sort of put on these heroics, this can change things for a team. Like, this can start to bring your spirits up. You're like, dude, this guy is popping. Like, we can win this, Like, you start to feel the belief, the confidence. That's hard to do when you're down in the dumps.
So clinical, and like, I mean, it's also something like a North Star that like the rest of the team can rally around. Because like now, if you're Dub on the Sombra, you kind of get the idea of just like, okay, well, if Knife is doing something, then maybe, I should be on the same page. Because in the past, we've seen them have a bit about dislocation where like, oh, Dub will go out at some points and it's a bit awkward and then Knife goes in. Or, just be on the same page. Like, look towards Knife, what he's doing, because Knife is cooking. So he's surely doing something good. Just try to be there with him.
He's surely doing something. He is doing a lot good for the Vegas Eternal. And I think if Knife is able to keep this performance up,
MVP? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know about MVP, but I think Vegas win is pretty close if he could keep this up. All right, those were the best moments from today, and that wraps up our week. And every week we crown one of our crew as the Pick'ems champ. And this week is actually a tie between our production manager Megan and line producer Danny. Great name, by the way. GG's to both of you guys.
Yay.
So I have the production belt, the winner belt, Pick'em champion belt. I don't know what are you guys doing with this? You guys share like one person?
You should put it on in their honor.
No, why is it so well made? Why would you want to cut this? Like one person takes 3 days and a half and then send it to the other person.
I just want to see somebody wearing this around the office. I'll be disappointed if not.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Megan and Danny, congratulations. You guys are amazing, and I think I'm going to hunt you guys down before sending in my preds for next week.
Yeah, get the leaks from the script writers. I mean, the production people. That's what they are. They're not telling us what to say.
All right. Well, I mean, those are our champions for the Pick'ems. I don't know what do you call them?
Champions.
Champions.
They are champions.
Yeah. So yeah, the belt will be up for grabs next week as we get into some more Overwatch League on Friday, starting at 1 a.m. Pacific and APAC region. Yes, this is only for this week, and then new people could try out and then win it.
Guangzhou Seoul Infernal. Wow.
That's a big one, actually.
Ooh, Dallas Fuel
Dallas
versus
Fuel,
Shanghai
yeah.
Dragons. That would have been good in 2021.
Yeah.
And then Dreamers and Poker
And
Face.
Fuel looks resurgent. I feel like Dragons, I'm a little disappointed they lost to, I believe it was Dreamers. But Fate at the helm, you know what? I trust in Fate. I choose to put my faith in Fate.
Okay, great job.
Good one.
Those were our APAC region. Let's take a look at what we have for the West. San Francisco Shock versus Valiant, Uprising versus Defiant, Outlaws versus Excelsior. I'm gonna be honest, I'm looking out for the Houston Outlaws match because they are struggling, bro.
Houston has fallen. The question is how far. Like,
What
that's,
happened?
That's the question that this match can sort of seek to answer.
Uh-huh.
But I think, for me, the bigger match here is Uprising versus Defiant. I think Defiant, this is like the type of win that catapults you. That you've beaten some teams, but they haven't been like huge, game-changing wins for the Defiant. Beating Boston Uprising is that win. It's a game-changing win. And Boston showed a little bit of weakness, I think, in dropping a map to Vegas. Esperanza was very close.
Numbani was close too with Echo. And Toronto plays Echo.
Fair. And a couple mistakes in Vegas could have snowballed through third. Arguably, they should have snowballed that attack. So, I think for some of the teams, Boston,
There's a chance.
gotta be worried. Toronto looks sharp, looks clean.
There's a small chance.
All those things are happening next week, and we have more Overwatch as well. The contendering begins anew. Check out the Overwatch Contenders Summer Series when it kicks off tomorrow on July 17th to witness all the tender action. Visit overwatch.com/path2pro for more details. Nice.
Bonus credits to you if you eat chicken tenders while watching.
Eat chicken tenders, watch
Oh.
tendies.
I don't know.